Last year, Juan and I built this structure, which is a north shed wing off of the main garage at my folks' spot. It's roughly about 13.5 feet long in this dimension and about 22 feet long in the other dimension. We used roof metal that we bartered with a metal roof manufacturing company. We're installing a chestnut orchard at their location in the future. So that was bartered, so $0. We made the rafters out of round pole ash from the woods in this landscape. So that was $0. We made the uprights out of black locust trees that we split by hand from a local woodlot where we made relationships with folks to manage those woods. Those were $0. The purlins, which receive the roof metal, are from scrap lumber from a local black locust lumber yard, and that was about $5 worth of lumber. And we found screws in bulk that we purchased to do the timber lock. So these nice heavy-duty screws for the rafters and the angle bracing for 50 cents a piece. This whole structure, over 13 feet by 22 feet or so, came in under $30 or $40 to build. We salvaged gutter off of my folks' home when they had their gutters replaced. So this gutter was going to be thrown out, but we salvaged it. And that section of gutter, as well as this gutter, which collects off of the south side of the garage, allows us to fill 4 IBC tanks, which is over 1,200 gallons of water for agricultural use. So it's a place to store materials, but it's also a rainwater harvesting tool. And for the price, you see the waviness in the roof, got a nice gesture to it. It's the beauty of working with round pole material. But for the price, it's probably one of the highest quality structures I could imagine building for so little money, and it should last about 40 or 50 years without any major issues. Out in the woods, we're building something quite a bit larger, and I'd love to share notes. So if I wander away from the north side of the garage and the mess over there and start walking out towards the woods, we're going to bring us to a place where we're building roughly an 18-foot by 26-foot structure in a very, very similar fashion. The same idea of using salvaged roof metal, using white ash from this landscape from trees we're thinning anyway, and black locust that we generated by hand with some local woodlots. As we're wandering out that way, walking past this pond, it's been starting to fill now that we've gotten some more rains. It's about maybe 2 feet deep in there. It's got a ways to go, tens of thousands of gallons more water to go. But it's nice that that's there, waiting for the rains of fall. And here we are, we start coming out. So this will be a barn, a woodland barn that we can use to cure crops, to dry herbs, to store tools, to do woodworking, store materials for other higher grade building projects in the future. And this style of building is just so rewarding to work with. It's improvisational, it's got a looseness to it, and at least for us, the aesthetic is really pleasing. So we've been going hard at getting the roof framed out. You can see it's very much in a rough sketch. We have some of these rafters committed with those really sturdy timber locks, but we have yet to cut them in a flat plane. We have a whole pile of purlins, which will receive the roofing, but they're just roughly laid out up there. And what we do is, as we take these round poles, we can push them back and forth, we can turn them and try to get these purlins to lay relatively flat between members. And even if they don't, we can bend them if need be. We can also recess them into the rafters. There's a lot of ways we can push and pull the details. But this one is 2 bays deep. It's got a fair bit of uprights in here. And so it's 16 feet of internal space in this dimension and 24 feet on the inside from here all the way over to the other side. This roof has a ways to go. We're about 2/3 done setting in the rafters. Again, haven't trimmed this far side, but this will be another very significant amount of roof area to collect water out in the woods here. You can see I've got an IBC tote off in the distance. We'll salvage some other used gutter components to collect that rainwater and store it. And this structure can then provide water to service woodland nursery crops in this area, or be tagged into a water common system for the pond over there and sent upslope to our sunnier areas. Most of our intensive nursery work happens about 200 yards that way, and so we can use some solar energy and pumps to move it there if we need to. But this will collect a ridiculous amount of water in the woods where we have had none before. This is mainly Juan's workstation here. He is the lead peeler of all things bark. You can just see the massiveness of the work that he's been doing out here. So he's been using a draw knife to clean these off. Again, these are all white ash that we are clearing from the woods here anyway. What he's working on right now are elements that will ultimately become angle bracing. Like that, if you could imagine. It's all very simple stuff. And boy, oh boy, if you look at those joints where the timbers meet and you are a very proficient or high quality builder, you would probably find it abhorrent and ridiculous and super unprofessional. But I'll tell you what, we've had none of these structures fall in all the years that we've been knocking them out in this landscape. Some are 13 years old. Almost all of them are under $100. That same trade that gave us the roof metal for the shed wing off of the garage, in that same pile, we got somewhere around 250 sheets in exchange for this orchard we're going to be planting. We now have all the roof metal we need to put a lid on that barn cached out here in the woods as well. So between the roof metal being in trade, generating all the wooden members more or less from the woods here or from a waste stream of a local mill, and buying huge bulk of timber locks for the sturdy aspects we need, this will be another structure that certainly will be under $100 in total to build, and we'll have about 18 by 28 feet of area completely covered and protected from rain. Really thrilled with this kind of building. If we can make some time, we'll share more details on how we have been developing this style of building. We're just figuring it out as we go along. Very, very clearly, I am not a professional carpenter. I have no training in this. We just figure it out with the tools we have. You can probably build things like this wherever you are, from, you know, trees that fall down after a windstorm, or the tops of trees that people are cutting for firewood or milling. The round pole is extremely strong as well. This white ash is probably on par with 6x6s of dimensional pine lumber that easily 2 or 3 purchased boards for this from Lowe's or Home Depot would cost what the entirety of this whole structure will cost to build. So clearly round pole is a great way to go. I need to get on the road here and head home, pick up compost as per usual for the chickens. And that's that. But let me know if you've got some questions or comments down below. What kind of interesting structures are you putting together in your landscape? Clearly we're not trying to build a home this way, but things like barns and structures and garage extensions, it's a pretty amazing per square foot cost, and the ethics feel pretty sound as well, to be selecting most of the material from on-site and from local resources. Anyway, hope that is of interest or exciting for you to think about building where you live. Let us know how we can be helpful in that process, and thanks for watching.